Alright guys, it's Sunday afternoon. We've got all the grass cut. My favorite shade tree until the leaves start falling. That makes a mess. But now that we've got all this done, let's do a VETO PAC Tech MCT loadout video. Alright guys, I thought I would do a quick VETO PAC Tech MCT HVAC loadout. This was my first VETO bag, and I've got a couple of others now. We'll get into all that in a minute, but first I want to address some comments I got. I did a short drain line clog clear, another video clearing a drain line. Got some comments, and blowing ruining the floors, flooding the attic, ruining carpet, this, that, and the other, blah. Yeah, evidently people that leave those comments don't have very strong mechanical or technical aptitudes. So I want to talk about that real quick. This is the device that I was using, and in this situation I'm going to hook it mostly to a nitrogen tank with a regulator, and I can set that regulator about at a max 15 psi, 20 psi. And in this particular scenario, but if you know how to use this, it only allows what you feed it, so you can control the pressure through that. Number one, before you do this, you're obviously going to make sure your drain line is secure. All your fittings are glued. You're going to put caps, and I typically will put a stack and glue the caps on so they don't blow off. Come back and take them back off when I'm done. I only do this in a scenario where I've got a really bad clog, and everybody knows drain line clogs. The rust, crud that's in the drain line, in the drain pan, inside the unit, travels down with the water. Typically it finds a 90 somewhere in the crawl space. I don't use this on downstairs drain lines. Don't need to. They're usually straight, pretty easy to clear. They don't clog up as bad. And upstairs, by the time it gets out of the attic, runs over here, runs over there, goes here, goes down, you got a couple of different 90-degree elbows, and over time you're going to get rust and sediment. It's going to build up in the bottom of those 90s, and it's going to pile up until it eventually clogs up because it's flowing downhill with the water. People want to get in the attic, cut the drain line. You see couplings over here. We got these big companies, these national companies. They go and they will cut their coupling, and they'll initial it, put their employee number on it, all that good stuff, like they did their job. But they cut the drain line and they blow back from inside the attic, and all they're doing is pushing that clog even tighter because the clog is packed from the attic down. So blowing it from the attic does you no good. You're just packing it tighter. So you want to come in from the outside with some positive pressure. Sometimes I'll use the shop vac. It's not that bad of a clog. I'll try that first in most cases. Flip my hose, positive pressure, the air that blows out of the shop vac, blow it back in. Sometimes I can break it free that way. But if I've got a real bad clog, I'm going to grab this. I'm going to primarily hook it to my nitrogen regulator, which I can set at a max 15 or 20 psi so that I don't blow the drain line apart. But if it's glued, and you know how to do this properly, and kind of just a little bit of pressure, once you break that thing free, you're going to feel it, because you're going to hold this stopper into that drain line. Here's a piece of PVC right here. You're going to hold that thing in there, and once you start to feel a little resistance pushing this nozzle back out, you know to back off, because now okay, you know you've got something. You just keep working it, and eventually you'll break that clog free, and then all that water that's sitting in that drain line is going to rush back out, pull that clog out, and then obviously you're going to go back with some cleaner, put a shop vac on it, vacuum out what you can get out. But guys that give me crap, I mean, that video has got 106,000 views, so a lot of people like it. So evidently Not a bad idea. I've been doing this for years, and if you know how to do it right, you're not gonna flood a house, and you're not gonna ruin carpet. You're not gonna blow the drain line apart. You're obviously gonna check, make sure all your fittings are glued properly, nothing's loose before you do it. And then you just have to know how to, you gotta have that finesse, gentlemen. And that's how you clear one of those real bad drain lines. So that comes in handy. Try using it, practice on it, but it'll clear those nasty clogs. So now we're going to get to the VETO Pro PAC Tech MCT. This is a bag that I've had for about 7 or 8 years, or 6 or about 7, I guess, 6 or 7. This is my first VETO bag. I used to use the Lowe's and the Home Depot bags, but I got this. Now you've seen the video for my TP4B and the TPXL or XXL. The XL I gave to one of the guys, one of my technicians. Didn't have a use for it. TP6B, gave that away on the 1,000 subscriber giveaway. By the way, guys, thank you. I'm at 2,000 subscribers in 5.5 months. I appreciate that. I wish those 106,000 people that watched the drain line video, if they would all subscribe, I'd have it going on. But anyway, real quick, we're going to cover the outside. This top pocket, and these pockets are tight, so having some stretchy material on the outside of these so you could pull them back might have been a good idea, but you can get some things in there. Keep extra razor blades in that one, and a capacitor jumper if I need it, and a set of jumpers if I need to do some troubleshooting. This pocket down here on the bottom, keep this little box in here, has fuses in it, 5 amp fuses I need to replace. I need to put some 3 amp fuses in there. That little box holds my fuses. Go around to this side, and this bag pretty much stays in my personal truck or stays at the house. I don't keep it with me every day. Got a couple of extendable magnets, a small one. That one I usually just use it to reach down between the fins and the top of a condenser to see if I can spin the fan blade on a bad fan motor. Seized. This one's got a bigger magnet on it. Picks up heavier things if I need to. I can pick up a set of channel locks with this one, but this one fits in the tighter spaces, so I keep them both. Keep them Milwaukee. Fastback razor blade on here. Has storage in it for extra blades. Keep a marker if you need to mark anything. This is like a little multi screwdriver I use for thermostats. I have a black one on there. This is a Craftsman, but I have a black one on my other bag I think I did a video on. But it has kind of a medium size flathead Phillips on it. Flip it over to the other side. These two are good for thermostats. They don't sell these at Lowe's anymore. I used to see them. That's where I got this. I haven't seen it in there for a while. Maybe you can get it on their website. Not quite sure. Around to the other side, I keep a little small D-ring if I need to clamp a door panel or something back out of the way along those lines. It just helps from time to time. Trying to hold a door back, wind's blowing on an outdoor unit, on a commercial package unit or something, and I have done some of that. I just keep it there because sometimes you just need to clamp something down, and that little D-ring comes in pretty handy. There's another marker, Sharpie. Little 1/4 inch, 5/16, kind of a 3 inch little bit that I keep on the bag. Obviously electrical tape and a temperature probe, field piece, UEI. I use them both. But that usually just sits right there. We'll start with what they call the front of the bag because it has the VETO Pro PAC patch on the bottom. Inside of this bag, I have my Bosch 12 volt. This is the one I carried primarily for quite a while until I got a couple of Milwaukee's. I have two of the 12 volt Milwaukee fuels now, one in my TP4B and then one in my XXL. But this Bosch battery lasts a long time. It's small, it's compact, and it's a good drill. If you want to use one of these as an impact, it's just as good as a Milwaukee. The only thing is it doesn't come with a belt clip, so sometimes that can be aggravating if you're working, you want to hang it on your pocket real quick. But that's the drill that's in this bag. And let's go through everything. First, we'll start with the pockets in the back. I keep a 3-amp fuse popper. I got this out of a carrier unit. Resettable fuse. A couple of wires on it with the male stake-ons. If I need it for the female, I can do that. But typically, when you use these, they're going to plug right into the place where your fuse is at on your circuit board or the wires that it's plugged to. And it's resettable. Works just as well as the 3-amp fuse popper. I made that one and didn't cost me a penny. Got an extra 1/4 inch and 5/16 back here. I bought these little swivel bits, and to be perfectly honest, I've never used them. They just stay in the pocket all the time. They're there maybe if I ever run into a scenario where I need one, but I've got a 3/8, a 5/16, and a 1/4 inch. They're in there. Keep a duck knife, kind of a fairly inexpensive one. Keep a Milwaukee in my work truck. This is a backup, but duck knife. Keep a nut driver with a Malco flip bit handle on it, 1/4 inch, 5/16. If I need a nut driver. If I need to reach further in, I'll add an extension to that. I'll show you that in a minute. Another Malco flip bit with a 3/8 nut driver on it. That came out of the newer version of the Klein 11-in-1. I figured I had an extra handle. I just put it on that, stick it in this bag. Keep an insulated screwdriver, Phillips, flathead. I have 3 of these. I really like these. They're light. They don't add a lot of weight to your bag. They're insulated. I think up to 1,000 volts, something along those lines. And they work pretty good. Keep a little flashlight right there. AAA batteries. Milwaukee needle nose strippers, cutters. Have 3 pair of these. Gave a pair to it was Sam Andrews. He ended up winning the VETO TPC 6B. I added that and as one of the tools that came along with that bag when he got it. Hopefully that's all working well for him. The Klein 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6-in-1, 1/2 inch, 7/16. And you got your 3/8, 11/32, and then your 5/16 and 1/4 inch, and obviously you can pop that up just a hair on that side, stick a bit down in there, magnetic, and it'll work. This is the Klein handle that's on that, so you just pull that down and that will come out. So multi-use nut driver, different sizes. Mastic brush, electrical tape around the metal so you don't short something. My pet peeve is cobbed up cobwebs inside of an electrical panel on an outdoor unit, and I'm going to get in there and I'm going to clean that out before I usually even get started. I just like to be able to see what I'm looking at. Cobwebs drive me crazy. Not everybody does maintenance on their unit. Not everybody that does the maintenance does it correctly. So I keep a brush so I can brush that stuff out and see what I'm looking at. Over here in this little pocket I keep Just took some 3/4 inch PVC, got a cap on the bottom of it, and with some zip ties in there, and then right down in here, pull the zip ties out. I have a set of jumpers. These are the jumpers that I made. I'm missing one wire on these, the black one that I use for the reversing valve, but these usually, if I need to jump out more than one thing, or jump out the fan, jump out the reversing valve with that one, jump out Y with that one, they work well. Do not need the Jumper King. That is a waste of money, and to be perfectly honest, that fits in the bag. The Jumper King won't. So just one more thing you got to carry around and find a place to put it. So I'm going to go down to the bottom pockets in this bag. We'll go over to this side real quick. I have one extension. It has, and it locks, it's a lockable, not a magnetic, a bit in it, 3/8, or I think that's 3/8, but it has an 11/32 deep well socket on it. Condenser fan motors, you got to get over that screw in some cases. If it has a long screw on it, that'll go in there. So this is what I use along with my drill. I just pop this out, stick that on my nut driver. I can get the bolts and the screws, condenser fan motors. I don't carry the 11/32 deep well nut driver. I don't need it, because I can just take this, stick it on there, and then I have one right there, and I'm not having to carry an extra nut driver in my bag. And as you guys have heard on past videos, here comes the train. But I keep one extension. This is a magnetic extension, it's not a locking. And then I keep another locking extension. It also has a number 2 Phillips in it. But if I need to reach somewhere back, if this isn't long enough, I need to reach a little further back, I can take that, add that, make a longer nut driver. And I have multiple setups like this in each bag, so I don't have to go find something. Every bag is set up very similar. Crimpers, I use these as wire cutters for the tips. I like the wide crimpers, not the skinny ones, because I get a full crimp on the whole fitting. And these are just the Woods crimpers. I don't know if Lowe's sells those anymore. Bought those. They're about $18 a pair, and they work absolutely great. Pair of side cutters, dikes, whatever you want to call them. Reach back there. Don't use those very often because this works pretty good. In this particular bag, I don't have my Knipex. Keep those in my other 2 bags. These are the vice grip channel locks. They're squared, so I can get on a bolt if I need to. And that's the channel lock I keep in this bag. Also keep a small pair of the channel locks, brand channel locks, little small ones. You get back in a small area and grab something, maybe twist on it and pull on it. Works good. Keep a scratch awl slash little, if I need to punch a hole in something, make a divot, get a screw started, I can do it. Line up holes, use that one. Keep the DeWalt adjustable wrench. Then I have a smaller Craftsman adjustable wrench. If I need to double back something, I can do it. Keep an extra, got the Milwaukee on the outside, but I keep an extra razor knife inside the bag. It's Cobalt. No reason to spend a lot of money on something like that, because they all hold the same razor blades, and the razor blade is what does the magic, right? Keep my little DeWalt angle tool. Got one of these in all 3 of my bags. Obviously a refrigeration wrench. This is my offset, and I have 2 other ones that are the straight. That one's in this bag. I have a little Schrader core tightener, would hold spare Schrader cores down inside of it. The problem is You have to remove the Schrader core to replace one. You can't do it with that. So keep an Appion Schrader core removal tool in this bag as well. Rigid copper tubing cutters. Got the spare blade behind the screw here. I have 3 sets of these. These are my favorite tubing cutters. I love the handle on it because you can get those round handles. If your hands are dirty and greasy, it wants to slip, you try to snug it down. Sometimes it's a little, these are the diamond handle where you can just grab it, and just a lot easier, a lot better. That's what I use. Small inspection mirror that I keep on here. Obviously you can see it extends out pretty far, but I have some larger ones. I just keep a smaller one in this bag. Keep a 5/16 and a 1/4 inch little ratcheting reversible wrench in my bag. Gets in tight spots, especially if you're trying to get some burners out of a furnace. You squeeze back in there, you can get on that screw, whether it's 5/16 or 1/4 inch. Get it loose. Keep these cheaper ones. I got a pack of these at Harbor Freight for like $8. It's a 1/2 inch, 9/16, 5/16, 1/4 inch, 7/16, 3/8, and they're reversible ratchets and they work well. Sometimes I use these on blower motors. The gears are a little longer in these, so you got to get a good, you know, you can't get a real fine adjustment, but if you're working on a bolt or something, you've got plenty of room to swing that thing. Keep those in that bag. Keep my metric and standard Allen keys in the bag. I keep this Allen key. That's for my damper motors, even though, as I think I have told everybody before, the tip of your refrigerant wrench fits the lock screws on the damper motors, at least for the Honeywells anyway, so keep that in mind. And down here got a 1/4 inch impact adapter, the 3/8 impact adapter. If I want to put a socket on my impact, I can. And then I keep this one. This is the 1/2 inch. The only reason I keep this is I've had a handful of times where I've gone to units and that drain pan plug, replacing a coil or whatever, and the new coil or the old coil has drain pan plugs on it, and they're screwed in real tight and they're set in place, and they give you that real thin little place to put a flathead screwdriver in there, but it always strips out. Just stick that in there with a nut driver stuck to the end of it like this, and you can turn that thing and you can get it loose. That's the only reason I keep that drain pan plugs. So there you go. I think that has covered everything on this side of the bag. So now we're going to flip to the other side. Yes, the Husky padded. For whatever reason, I don't think this bag, when I got it, came with a shoulder strap. And some other people said they've been using the Husky. It's padded real good. It does a good job. So it is what it is. Milwaukee 6-foot tape measure, because I really don't need more than 6 feet. Up here in this pocket, just keep some sandpaper, sandcloth. The one thing I've noticed I'm missing, I've got to stick another wire brush back in this bag. This front pocket, this is kind of the blower motor pocket. I do keep an extra Phillips bit in here, but this has a 3/8 socket, and put that on my impact or a nut driver handle. This is what I do when I need to get a blower motor out. These 3 sizes fit the bolts, typically for your housing and your belly band. It's tightened around the motor. All 3 of these will be one of those that you need every single time. And obviously I use an adjustable wrench on the belly band Put that on my impact driver. Pull that thing loose. Get that belly band off. So that basically is my blower motor compartment. That's all I've ever needed. Some people just make things more difficult than it really is. Oh, you gotta have this, you gotta have that. No, you don't. You use your mind. You use your experience if you have it. So the back side of this bag is going to have my set of gloves. Keep some gloves in there. This particular bag has the UEI meter. I've had a couple of these UEI meters. I have no problem with them. They work perfectly fine. They're just as good as the field piece in most situations. Haven't had an issue. I do have a set of aftermarket leads on here because it allows me to have these tips for basic troubleshooting and testing capacitors and voltage. But they're actually also needle probes. So if I need to get into a terminal on a plug, I can do that. Just pull these covers off. They're right there. These screw on and tighten. I have different sizes that I can put on there. Found them on Amazon, part of a lead kit, and I've had them for about 3 or 4 years. They work fine. UEI DL389 does everything you need it to do. You got your temperatures, your microamps if you're going to check a flame sensor, non-contact voltage, your capacitor, your continuity and your diode testing, your ohms, volts, AC, DC. This works just as good as a field piece. Has a set of strong magnets on the back of it. Very reliable meter. As you can see in my videos, I do carry primarily the field piece, and they're wireless, the field piece. This is not. So for what I do sometimes, that field piece, putting it in the cabinet, checking a blower amp with the door on, I can see that on my phone. But these UEI meters are good meters, and I would use one of these just as quick as I would use a field piece. I've had this one for a long time. I trust it. It works well. Obviously a screwdriver, pry, bend, get behind something, pop something loose. Keep one of those basically beater screwdrivers in here. Don't know why I still keep these in here. These were the original. These were the original fittings that came on these Malco handles when they first came out. Now you've got the flip bit tip on the other one, so these are just backups. They're spares if I need it. Keep them in there. Don't really use them that much. PVC cutter. Keep a small, cheap one. I do have one of the larger ratcheting ones, but they're so fat sometimes. Trying to get them back in a tight spot. These cheap ones work just fine, and that's what I keep in this bag. Another set of pliers, Craftsman, wire strippers, cutters. They work well. Don't use them that often, but they're in there if I need a backup set. Obviously, I'm a field piece with my refrigerant, most of it. Don't carry analog gauges anymore. I do have them as a backup. Batteries do go dead. Electronics do quit working. I do have a set of analog gauges that I have, but primarily I use everything from digital manifolds to these field piece job links. Got my temperature clamps that go along with those probes for your superheat and subcooling. They tuck right down in there in those two pockets. Keep a little bag of wire zip ties, little shorter ones. Bundle up some wires real quick. Keep a set of those smaller ones. I do have the longer ones. Saw those on the other side. It's a Craftsman magnetic tray. Pop that on top of a unit if I need to. Throw my screws in there. They'll stay. Collapsible. Tucks right back in there. And this is my little parts dish that stays in this bag. 5 amp fuses in there. I need to add a couple of 3s. Keep an extra, like I do in all my bags, an extra lock screw for a condenser or a fan blower wheel or blade. the train screws. When you take the TAM air handler door off, you drop that screw and you can't find it. I keep an extra screw in there. Gas valve pressure tap, keep one of those in there in case you drop that in the attic. Some anchors and some grommets, and some Jimmy Wigglers right there. Still trying to figure out how that name came about. I know who does it, but I'm not sure how Jimmy will. It doesn't wiggle. That's all I know. Some refrigerant caps, some blue and gray wire nuts, orange, yellow, red wire nuts, various different electrical fittings, yellows and blues and reds, depends on what gauge wire I'm using, some spare screws. That's basically what's in there. So anyway, guys, that's how this VETO Tech MCT is loaded out. And there's something that makes me want to start using this this bag again. I don't know if I will primarily. It stays in my personal truck at home. Get the occasional neighbor or somebody that calls, hey, can you come look at my unit? It doesn't happen as frequently as it used to because I don't have a marked van in my driveway anymore. Going on 7 years now. Been the basically service department service supervisor. So came out of a van, they put me in a pickup truck. Obviously don't store a lot of stuff there. I've got it loaded out the way I needed it to do what I do. Since the marked van hasn't been sitting in the driveway, the neighbors aren't sure what I do for a living anymore, which I kind of like that now because I don't get bothered as much. Because especially down the road here, about 1.5 miles, they have put up 2 new subdivisions. And there's probably about 150 houses in each one, so the traffic has gotten a little busier coming by here. I sit on a corner, stop sign, main highway, and I get a lot of traffic from back that way now. And not having that van sit here, maybe there's not that many people knocking on my door or bothering me, because at this point in my life, when I get off work, especially on the weekends, I don't want to be bothered. I just relax, chill out, and live my life. So anyway, guys, that's the VETO ProPac Tech MCT video. And once again, as a reminder, if you know how to use it, it works properly and you're not going to tear anything up. It just takes a little common sense, a little bit of technical and mechanical aptitude. Anyway, guys, I'm at 2,000 subscribers now. I appreciate that. Thanks to everybody that subscribed. And let's keep it going, keep it growing. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday afternoon. I'm going to enjoy mine. Got to put all these tools back in this bag first of all, and then I'm going to go inside, relax, chill out, maybe throw something on the grill. Anyway, guys, enjoy your weekend. Stay safe, drink water. It's been hot this summer. Today is July 29th, I think, if I'm not mistaken, maybe the 30th. Don't have my watch on, so I lose track of time sometimes, but it's the end of July 2023. It's been hot. We're getting a break. We're going to be in the upper 80s most of this coming week. Last week we were in the upper 90s every day, and that drains you, man. Puts a hurting on you, especially when you're a little older. And appreciate it, guys. Thanks for watching. Go drink you some water or drink you a cold beer. It's on Sunday. Have a good one.